Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. I am Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us. First, the headlines. Afghanistan Northern leaders demand state police amid delays. WAEC mandates 250 computers and CCTV for participating schools in the CBT exam. Panic as 5 bodies found along Lagos Riverbank. Opposition mounts against federal government's 5% tax on petrol and diesel. Nigeria to train 2,000 youths in electric vehicle maintenance and manufacturing. On business news, CBN directs financial institutions to submit regulatory reports to compliance depth. On the foreign scene, Afghanistan quake aftershocks cause more injuries. And on sports, Adelaide says on 2026 WCQ, it's win or bust for Super Eagles versus Rwanda. Now the news. Barely 17 months after the Tinubu administration's first expressed interest in establishing a decentralized police force, several socio-political groups, civil society organizations, and ex-servicemen and women have intensified calls for its implementation. These followed a meeting between President Bola Tinubu and eminent citizens of Kaduna State, where he stated that the federal government will hasten the devolution of power to the sub-national levels and further equip recently deployed forest guards. The National Publicity Secretary of the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Political Organization, Afenifere, Jare Ajayi, welcomed the renewed call by the president. Speaking with newsmen in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, Ajayi expressed hope that President Tinubu would remove delays clogging the implementation pipeline before the end of 2025. Ajayi cited a briefing by the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, who in February 2024 announced President Tinubu's renewed move to create state police after talks with state governors at the Aso Rock Villa. The West African Examination Council has outlined key facilities schools must provide ahead of the full migration of the West African Senior School Certificate Examination to computer-based testing by 2026. Head of Examinations, WAEC, Mr. Lucky Njuagwani, disclosed this during a sensitization program in Port Harcourt. According to him, schools must put in place a minimum of 250 functional laptops with 10% backups, a robust computer server capable of supporting 250 systems simultaneously, and a local area network setup. Other mandatory requirements include functional air conditioners and lighting, uninterrupted electricity supply, a backup generator with at least 40 kVA capacity, CCTV cameras, and a holding room or reception facility for candidates. Njogwani noted that the move to CBT will cut logistics costs, improve exam security, and widen accessibility. The Port Harcourt Zonal Coordinator of WAEC, Mr. Adeniran Amusong Akim, urged schools to begin upgrading their ICT centers in line with WAEC standards, stressing that the CBT system is here to stay. He added that schools unable to meet the requirements will be assigned to designated centers. WAEC will not lower the standards, according to him, and any school that wants to host the exams within its premises must provide the required equipment and infrastructure. At least 5 bodies were recovered along the riverbank in the Oreta area of the Igbo community, while another person was gruesomely killed in Bayeko, both in the Ikorodu area of Lagos State. Findings by newsmen and correspondents suggested that the incidents may be linked to the surge in cult-related violence across parts of Lagos. The development comes amid rising cases of cult clashes in the state, which have forced the police command to redeploy some divisional heads. Although details of the incident remain sketchy, residents confirm that the Bayeko attack involved the brutal killing of a man whose wrists and legs were severed, while 5 corpses were later found in Oreta. A community member who spoke on condition of anonymity told our correspondent that some people believe the incident was unrelated to cultism. Many in the community think it is related to land grabbing. Another resident, Adiola, told the newsman that police operatives were at the Oreta scene to assess the situation. A short video published by reporters showed some of the corpses by the riverside. One victim, dressed in a blue hoodie, was seen face down, while another in a black and white shirt lay motionless with bloodstains around the area. The Kaduna State Police Command has summoned former Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, alongside 6 prominent leaders of the African Democratic Congress ADC for questioning over allegations of criminal conspiracy, incitement of public disturbance, mischief, and causing grievous hurt. In a letter by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of the Criminal Investigation Department CID, Uzainu Abdullahi, the command directed the ADC chairman in the state to ensure the appearance of El-Rufai and other party members at the State Criminal Investigation Department SCID on September 2025. Those listed in the invitation include Bashir Saidu, Jafar Rusani, Ubaidullah Muhammad, popularly known as Dirty, Nasiru Meikano, Aminu Abita, and Ahmed Rufai Husseini, also called Mikia. The police later entitled investigation activities cases of criminal conspiracy, inciting the disturbance of public peace, mischief, and causing grievous hurt. It explained that the invitation was to enable the suspects to clarify allegations made against them by certain complainants. Although the details of the complaints were not disclosed, the police maintained that the move was part of efforts to sustain public peace and order in Kaduna State. The planned implementation of 5% surcharge on refined petroleum products, including petrol and diesel, starting January 1, 2026, is being opposed by stakeholders in the extractive sector and civil society organizations, CSOs. This came as Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petroan, said the law, if enforced, could cause its members to close businesses. Although the African Democratic Congress ADC and Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Mr. Peter Obi, said the tax will worsen the hardship of already struggling Nigerians. President Bola Tinubu had on June 26, 2023 signed the Nigerian Tax Administrative Act, which included the surcharge of 5% on refined petroleum products to take effect from January 2026. The federal government said the Nigerian Tax Administration Act aims to boost non-oil revenue and promote fiscal sustainability. Stakeholders in the extractive sector who opposed plan to impose a 5% tax on petroleum products beginning January 1, 2026 said that the move will further increase the pump price of petrol, which Nigerians depend on for transport and energy. In a note to Newsman, Executive Director, Extractive 360, Mrs. Juliet Alohan Kanwosu, said the policy will increase the cost of living for Nigerians. Dangote Industries Limited has reiterated its warning to truck operators against the unauthorized use of its logo on their trucks, noting that their actions have caused serious embarrassment to the brand. The company stated that despite previous warnings, certain truckers with no affiliation to Dangote continue to display its logo on their trucks, often for personal gain or other undisclosed motives. It noted with concern that some of these vehicles have been implicated in incidents that were wrongly attributed to the company. To that end, Dangote has pledged to intensify monitoring efforts in collaboration with relevant security agencies and law enforcement and to pursue legal proceedings against offenders. Dangote also expressed alarm over the proliferation of misinformation targeting the company, particularly the unfounded attribution of road accidents to its fleet. The company urged the public and media to verify facts before dissemination and warned against falling prey to individuals seeking to exploit tragedies for malicious or financial purposes. The Dangote Group operates one of the largest commercial fleets in Africa, with over 12,000 trucks in Nigeria alone, including over 3,000 owned by third-party contractors. On any given day, more than 6,000 vehicles are actively engaged in operations that support the company's extensive logistics network, generating over 36,000 direct and indirect jobs. The Director General of the Youth in Parliament Forum YPIF, Tony Nwulu, has said 2,000 Nigerian youth will benefit from free training in electric vehicle EV maintenance and manufacturing under a new partnership program with Kawin Mobility Limited. The initiative, unveiled in Abuja, is part of a broader program aimed at empowering young people with technical skills needed to prepare Nigeria for the growing adoption of renewable energy and green transportation. Nwula described the project as a historic milestone that would position Nigerian youth at the forefront of the global transition to sustainable mobility. He explained that as electric vehicles gradually make inroads into the Nigerian automobile market, it was important to ensure the country was not left behind in terms of technical expertise and manpower. Umulu said the initiative, which commences on the 20th of this month, is designed to prepare young Nigerians to take advantage of the fast emerging opportunities in the renewable energy and green transportation sector. Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu on Thursday successfully brokered a resolution through his intervention, bringing an end to the standoff between the federal government and indigenous contractors. This came after the contractors owed for months staged a protest in Abuja. Following his appointment as chairman of the House Special Committee on Budget Implementation by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin, Kalu convened an expanded meeting with the contractors, numbering over 80 across the country, with their leadership for an open dialogue on the issue. In attendance were the Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, the Accountant General of the Federation, Mr. Shamsuddin Ogunjimi, and other top government officials. After a marathon meeting lasting over 4 hours, Kalu announced that all parties have resolved the issues in the interest of the economy. Kalu's intervention was hailed by the parties, who said that it averted further disruptions, demonstrating the effectiveness of dialogue in resolving disputes. Speaking at the end of the meeting, the Deputy Speaker said that the mutually beneficial agreement was reached, expressing his gratitude to the Speaker of the House and the colleagues for entrusting him with the responsibility. Ahead of the termination of the 6-month emergency rule in Rivers State, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met with the Administrator of the State, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired at the State House, Abuja. The emergency rule will terminate on September 18, and suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara is expected back in office. There was no statement from the presidency on what transpired at the meeting, but sources suggested they were part of consultation on the next steps for the state. The president, who is on vacation, may not return to the country before the expiration of the emergency rule. President Tinubu, in a nationwide broadcast, suspended Governor Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all members of the House of Assembly for 6 months. More than 1 year after local government areas got what could be described as favorable landmark judgment, they are yet to be freed from the grip of state governors. In July 2024, the Supreme Court had ruled in favor of local government autonomy, affirming the financial and administrative independence of Nigeria's 774 local council by declaring actions by state governments unconstitutional. However, the full implementation of that judgment remains a mirage, opening further calls that the local government system should be scrapped. The national chairman of Action Alliance, AA, Kenneth Udeze, disagreed with the clamor for the scrapping of local government in Nigeria, pointing out that local governments are a necessary tool in conveying the dividends of democracy to the grassroots. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has declared renowned engineer Olasijibomi Suji Ogundele, popularly known as Sujimoto, wanted. Ogundele is the owner of Sujimoto Luxury Construction Limited, a company known for building luxury and state-of-the-art buildings. However, EFCC spokesman Dele Oyewale said Sujimoto is declared wanted for money laundering and diversion of funds. Ogundele is a 44-year-old indigene of Oriade local government of Osun State. However, EFCC spokesman Dele Oyewale said Sujimoto is declared wanted for money laundering and diversion of funds. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has provided an update on the final registration of voters for Anambra governorship election. The commission gave the update after its weekly meeting. A statement made available to reporters after the meeting said that there were deliberations on the final register of voters for the governorship election. According to the electoral umpire, 168,187 citizens have registered as new voters. The commission said it has already displayed the list of new registrants in all its wards for claims and objections as stipulated in the Electoral Act 2022. The federal government has expressed sadness over the boat accident in the Bogo area of Niger State, which claimed the lives of about 32 people. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris described the incident as a painful tragedy coming only months after devastating floods hit Mokwa in the same state. He commended the Niger State Emergency Management Agency for its swift action in rescuing and accounting for passengers of the ill-fated boat. To prevent similar tragedies, Idris said the federal government had directed the National Orientation Agency (NOA) to launch a nationwide sensitization campaign on waterway safety. Former spokesperson of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, Kenneth Okonkwo, has claimed that the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has effectively zoned its 2027 presidential ticket to Federal Capital Territory FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Speaking on the Breakfast TV show today, Okonkwo alleged that Wike has consistently imposed his will on the PDP, warning that the former River State governor openly works against the party. He recalled that Wike disregarded the Southeast preference for Udo Okoye as PDP's national secretary, insisting instead on Samuel Anyanwu, who eventually emerged. Okonkwo argued that the Supreme Court ruling, which affirmed Anyanwu's position, was simply a recognition of party rights to choose their leaders, not an endorsement of Wike's position. He further described Wike's conduct as anti-party. Comfort TV.Channel news returns shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Stay tuned. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is Comfort TV.Channel news. On business, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has directed financial institutions to submit all regulatory reports, correspondence, and related inquiries to its Director Compliance Department through the established communication channels. The directive was contained in a letter to all banks, payment service banks, and other financial institutions. The letter was signed by the Director, Compliance Department (CBN), Olubunmi Ayodele Oni. And on the foreign scene, a series of strong aftershocks from a deadly earthquake that hit eastern Afghanistan over the weekend injured at least another 10 people and caused further damage. 5 shallow aftershocks, the strongest measuring a magnitude of 5.6, were recorded by the U.S. Geological Survey on Thursday night and Friday morning, with some rattling Kabul and Pakistan capital Islamabad. National Disaster Authority spokesman Mohammed Hamad told newsmen 10 people were injured across 8 provinces jolted by the aftershocks, including the hardest hit Kunar, Nangarhar, and Lagman, adding to the more than 3,700 already injured in the initial earthquake. More than 2,200 people were killed after the magnitude 6.0 earthquake hit eastern Afghanistan just before midnight, making it the deadliest quake to hit the country in decades. In Nuristan province, north of Kunar, resident in Namula Safi said he and others ran out of their homes when the aftershock hit overnight. Some houses were damaged or destroyed, he said, adding that they have received little assistance as aid is concentrated in the worst hit zone. The disaster comes as Afghanistan is already facing multiple crises after decades of conflict, contending with endemic poverty, severe drought, and the influx of millions of Afghans forced back to the country by neighbors Pakistan and Iran since the Taliban's 2021 takeover. Afghanistan is among the most seismically active regions in Asia, sitting near the boundary of the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates. The country frequently experiences destructive earthquakes, with remote mountainous areas particularly vulnerable due to fragile infrastructure and poor access to emergency services. Still on the foreign scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin warned on Friday that any Western force deployed to Ukraine would be a legitimate target for Moscow's army, a day after Kyiv's allies said they had committed to a troop presence in the event of a peace deal. 2,000 countries led by France and Britain pledged Thursday to join a reassurance force on land, at sea, and in the air to patrol any deal. He added that the deployment of such a force was not conducive to long-term peace and said Ukraine's closer military ties with the West were one of what he calls the root causes of the conflict. Ukraine allies have not revealed any specific details of the plan, including how many troops it will involve and how specific countries would contribute. Kyiv says security guarantees backed by Western troops are crucial to any peace deal to ensure Russia does not relaunch its offensive in the future. On sports, Super Eagles goalkeeper Adebayo Adeleye has declared that the players will give their best to secure maximum points in the clash with Amavubi of Rwanda. Nigeria must beat Adel Amrouche's side to stand any chance of securing a place at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which will be hosted by Canada, Mexico, and United States of America. The three-time African champions will keep a date with the Amavubi in Uyo on Saturday. The Super Eagles were held to a 1-1 draw by the Warriors of Zimbabwe in their last home fixture. Adele declared that they can't afford another negative result against the Amavubi. Adele is back in the Super Eagles squad after missing out on a place in the squad to the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. Still on sports, Argentine captain Lionel Messi has said he is not certain about playing at the 2026 World Cup. Messi had claimed he does not enjoy playing football when he is not fully fit. The 38-year-old made this admission after scoring twice in the 3-0 win over Venezuela on Thursday. It could be the last time that Messi features in a qualifying game on home soil. According to the 8-time Ballon d'Or winner, his participation at next year's World Cup will come down to his fitness. And that's our news bulletin for today. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. Afghanistan Northern leaders demand state police amid delays. CBT WAEC mandates 250 computers CCTV for participating schools. Panic as 5 bodies found along Lagos Riverbank. Opposition mount against federal government 5% tax on petrol and diesel. Nigeria to train 2,000 youths in electric vehicle maintenance and manufacturing. On business news, CBN directs financial institutions to submit regulatory reports to Compliance Department. On the foreign scene, Afghanistan quake aftershocks cause more injuries. And on sports, on 2026 World Cup qualifiers is a win or bust for Super Eagles versus Rwanda. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. I am Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed.